initially formed the company, we looked at the real social need of this country was to make digital payments at your convenience that suits your lifestyle. So we live in a country that has a very fast-paced living environment. We're looking at how do people, while on the go, have the ability to pay from their utility payments to buying goods from retailers across the island. So we then looked at, okay, how do we best solve this? And then that's when JustPay came about from Lanka Clear. JustPay, if I'm to explain, is really a brainchild of Lanka Clear to support the low and middle income families of Sri Lanka. And what it really enables is for citizens of Sri Lanka to link in their bank accounts and make retail payments of the bank accounts. This really takes away the necessity for people to transact via cash or to apply and have credit scores to apply for credit cards and so on. That really was the original vision of the product, to number one, give people the convenience that they need to support retail transactions around the low ticket or the low income families, middle and low income families. And number three, enable Sri Lanka to become a cashless society eventually that leads to less fraud, more security and so on. So the product itself is available on Android as well as iOS. The product basically has a very basic registration to identify the consumer, and that would be your national ID, your email address, phone number and your name, and that's it. And we'd give you, in terms of security, to add your own passcode to enhance your security so you can recover your password or your account at a later stage. And then it's a 3-step registration and then you're ready to go. And once you're in the app, you have the ability to add your bank accounts as well as your credit cards. And it's a matter of what you call tokenizing, which is really you enter the detail once and you reuse it all the time. There is no limitation in terms of the number of cards or bank accounts you can have. Now, in terms of the current pilot phase, Lanka Clear supports a couple of banks: Bank of Ceylon, Kyrgyz Bank, Sampath Bank, LOLC, CLC and Nations Trust. In the coming months, we'll see Commercial Bank, HMB, People's Bank and a few other banks joining the network as well. And they have multiple ways of accepting payments from the consumer. The easiest or the standard method would be via scanning a QR code. So that would mean that the merchant would have a static QR code that would represent their company, their merchant ID, so on. Or we have a dynamic QR code which generates for that specific unique bill. Right. So for example, you can say I'm running a coffee shop and you come to my coffee shop and your bill is 1,350 rupees. I just simply enter the amount and say generate a QR code and I would present it to the customer. So the customer basically take out his mobile phone and authenticate himself onto the UPay app. So we have Touch ID and different ways of authenticating yourself. So that really authenticates the user. And once you're authenticated, you have access to all of the payment methods you added, from your credit cards to your bank accounts. And you simply select that payment method and you scan the code. Once you scan the code, it will basically tell you the amount that you need to pay and the merchant you're paying. So you validate that information and then you simply click pay. And then it's a real-time settlement. So the money is taken from the customer's account and credited to the merchant's account in real time. There are a couple of other ways that we'll be introducing the market when the market is a little bit ready for it. Number one would be NFC. NFC is another tap and pay type mechanism which allows the consumers that have NFC enabled. It's near field communication, that's what NFC stands for. NFC allows you to simply tap your phone onto the merchant's phone to transact. So there's no scanning allowed. Simply the merchant's ID or merchant's device would be recognized as the receiving party. You would simply enter the amount and tap and pay. The second mechanism we're looking at is a SMS pay, which is really where the merchant would be able to identify your customer ID or your mobile number and push the payment across to you. So for example, I am the merchant and Raju come to my shop and I'll say your bill is 1,600 rupees. I can get your customer ID or your mobile number, enter the details and just say push. We would validate that's a correct customer that's registered and we'll send you a digital notification saying this specific customer, a merchant, has requested this amount of money for these goods that you're buying. So you can then authorize it as well. So Just Pay, the Sri Lanka's Just Pay network just launched on the 14th of January. In fact, we launched on the same day. We were the first and currently the only mobile application that's in the market. Here, we're trying to convert the smartphone to be able to accept bank account payments as well as credit card payments, right? So that's what we call a mobile point of sale, POS, right? Now, that will be given free of charge to them, and we're looking at all the merchants that sign up with us. In the first 3 months, we're giving them 0% commission.
Okay.
The smartphone that you have,
Okay.
download the app, and you're ready to accept payments.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.